guys, welcome back to Urban Rhino Tutorials. Today I want to show you how to use polymer clay to create a pair of tassel earrings. So the polymer clay that I use is this Sculpey brand, and there are regular colors as well as the Primo accents, which are usually ones that have glitter or look more like kind of like stone, like this one here. So I have a black one with glitter and this kind of white stone looking one that I'm going to use. I'm also going to embellish one of the sections of, like, one of the pieces of the clay that I'm going to shape. I'm going to embellish it with this gold foil, or the foil leaf. I love using this stuff. I use it in resin. I've used it on other jewelry products that we've done, and it's really fun with the clay. It is so delicate, so that it just sticks right to the polymer clay. You could add it after, but I think it's much easier to add it when you make it, and like make your shape before you actually bake it. So I've already put some of the pieces in my mold here. So this is just a silicone mold that I'm using. I use an X-Acto knife and scrape off a little bit of the gold foil, and then I just put it down into the mold. So it just sits in there, and then when I press my clay in, all of that gold foil, because it is so delicate and pretty much adheres to anything, especially a sticky surface, it's going to pick right up onto my clay. So the clay that I'm going to use, the polymer clay that I'm going to use in this little triangular faceted shape here, is this black. It has some sparkle to it, this black clay here. I'm going to take a piece that's probably smaller than what I would think that I would need, and surprisingly, when you push it in there, a lot of times it takes a lot less than what you think. So I always underestimate how much I need, because I can always add more. It's a little harder to take it out. So I'm just kind of softening it a little bit with the warmth of my hands, squishing it back and forth, getting it smooth like that. Okay, so now I'm going to press this into the shape here. And just like I said, I would have not thought that that would have been enough, but it was about the perfect amount to fill up that shape. So I'm pressing it in there over and over just to make sure it gets into all of the little facets. So these are shaped like jewels, so it has, you know, like a faceted face to it. So I want to make sure that it gets really pressed in there. I also want to make sure I'm pressing it so that it picks up all of the gold leaf. So that was perfect there. Now to remove the shape, I'm just going to kind of peel this away, and it pops right out. Just be kind of gentle. The clay is obviously soft, and you can see how the gold leaf stuck to it. If you see any pieces of the gold leaf kind of sticking up at all, just lightly tap them down. They'll stick right on. So just like that. Now, I'm just using the back of a texture mat here. I want to make sure that I poke a hole in one part of my little jewel shape that's made here. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can attach a second piece below it. So I'm gonna need a hole to put a jump ring through. My ear wire, when this is all finished, is going to hang from the top of this. So you might say, well, don't you need something to go there? Yes. In that case, I'm going to use one of these little tiny screw eyes that look like this. And I'm going to use that and screw it into the top part here to hook my ear wire on. And I'll do that after I bake the clay. So now that this is, you know, created, I'm gonna poke a hole. I don't wanna go too close to the bottom because I don't wanna tear it, but about a quarter, about 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom. And you can use any kind of, any kind of thing that you could poke through it. A needle would work, a toothpick. I was using this. I have these little hand drills that we use in some of our projects in my class. So now I've poked a hole through that right there, and this one is ready to bake. So I'll set that one off to the side and show you the next shape that I'm gonna make, which is a half circle. And I'm gonna use this white clay for that. And I'm going to, again, soften it up a little bit. I'm gonna use this roller. Yes, it looks like it's from 1970. It's been through the ringer, but it works. It's actually a printmaking roller, but we use them in here. They're nice. I like this better than the clay rollers because it has the handle on it. So I'm doing this so that my thickness is about 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm gonna take my circle shape, just using, these are actual clay cutters. However, you could just use, any kind of cookie cutter works fine. And I'm gonna peel that up like that. And then from here, I wanna cut this in half. So I want my shape to look like a half circle. So I'm gonna use my square cutter and I'm just gonna eyeball it here, what I think is like the halfway of it. And I'm going to press that in and cut my two shapes apart like that. So now I have 2 of these, obviously one for each earring. Make sure it's flat, just like that, okay? So now with this one, again, I wanna poke a hole, and then on the top part, once this is baked, I'm going to use this, this connector here. So I will place that on and pinch it so that it sits like that. But on the bottom part, I wanna poke a hole because we're gonna hang a tassel from the bottom. A lot going on this little pair of earrings. So again, about 1/8 of an inch up, I'm going to poke a hole. Oops. So just like this. And then my 2 shapes, which I would make these a second time, obviously, for my 2 earrings, these are ready to bake. And I have already pre-made these, and I've already baked the pieces. So you can see I have this one and this here. So this one's baked. You can hear it's hard like that. This one's still the soft one I just cut. This one is baked as well. So I'm gonna connect these together like that. This one is soft, so I'm not going to press this on here, but all you would do with this connector crimp is open it up with your pliers, inset your clay into it, and then use your pliers to pinch it back down. So pretty simple there. Okay, so let me move my clay out of the way. So the way we're going to assemble this, so again, both of these have been baked in my clay oven. You can use a regular oven, just please make sure that you read the baking instructions on the side or the back or whatever of the clay that you are using. So like this one says 275 degrees for 30 minutes. It obviously is gonna depend too on the thickness of it. Thicker clay will need to bake a little longer than the thin clay. So I'm going to connect all of this together. We're gonna use a jump ring to connect these 2 pieces. I'm gonna put a screw eye in the top here. The jump ring or the ear wire will go here, and then I'm gonna hang a tassel from the bottom. So the tassel, these are just pre-purchased tassels, and I put a tassel cap or an end cap on the top. I just hot glued it in there. So all that stuff is ready to go. Now I'm going to just assemble it. So to do that, let me start by putting the screw eye in the top of this. So I'm just gonna find the center of it I'm gonna kind of wiggle it back and forth. If you've watched any of my tutorials before, you'll know these are sometimes really easy to use in some products or some materials that you're working with, and others they are much harder to use. Usually in resin and clay, it goes in a lot easier than in concrete or wood. So let me get a little hole going. It's gonna be another one of those things where I drop it 75 times and then I'm just gonna have to stop the camera and do it so you don't have to watch me for an hour. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this in real quick and then when I return it'll be so I have the screw eye in. I actually just grabbed a hold of it with my needle nose pliers. That's a lot easier. My nails aren't super long, but working with the clay, it kind of makes your hands a little greasy feeling. So a lot of times it's just hard to grip the little screw eye. And when I put that in, opposite that side is the hole that we created. So you wanna make sure that you're putting it on the right spot there. So from here, I'm gonna connect this jewel that we've made to this little half moon shape. So I'm gonna open, I have a larger jump ring. This is a 1/4 inch jump ring. And the reason we're doing one that's a little bit bigger is because you have to allow room to be able to fit it through the shape that you made here. So I'm gonna hook on both of those pieces and close it up. Well, try that again. Without getting too crazy there. There we go. So I have those pieces connected. And then I want to put a jump ring through the hole I made on the bottom of my white little half moon and connect the tassel. These tassels are a little long. I personally love big like statement type earrings like these are. My students, most of them will never make earrings that are this big, which is totally fine. That's not usually something high school kids wear. But if they wanted to put a tassel, they can certainly choose one of these and then cut it down, or we have smaller tassels that they can pick from as well. So I'm just kind of working this jump ring through the opening. Sometimes once it bakes, it's a little difficult to get it through there. There we go. And then I'm gonna hook on my my tassel. And then from here, I'm gonna close it up. Usually once I close a jump ring, I'll turn it so that the opening, if you're not soldering a jump ring closed, which we don't do in our lower level classes, but I'll turn it so that the opening is kind of hidden within the clay so that you don't see that opening. Okay, so now I've got this. All I have left to do is put my ear wire on the top. So I'm gonna open that up, hook on my whole earring. You wanna make sure that your hook is facing, the hook of the ear wire is facing the right direction so that your earrings face front forward. So I've got this one, and here is my match to it that I created earlier. And like I said, if you wanted to trim the tassels so that they are shorter, you could certainly do that. The way that you cut your shapes, the different molds that you use, the colors, the hardware color, the tassel, all of that stuff is going to make this pair of earrings very different from the next pair. So there is so much variety on how these could turn out. So that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you stay connected with Urban Rhino on social media And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment below, and of course, subscribe to our channel.